Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to India Night 2026. Please give your best applause to tonight's event. Thank you so much. And tonight's event carrying the theme Weaving Collaboration, Driving Investment. And also today's event is organized by Embassy of India and InvestorTrust.id. I am Mangi Farachong as your host tonight. It's my absolute honor to guide you through today's proceedings. And today's event, ladies and gentlemen, is held both offline and online. Okay, so before we begin our main agenda tonight, I would like to invite everyone to please rise for the singing of the Indonesian national anthem, Indonesia Raya. Thank you, everyone. Please have a seat. Okay, so our honorable guests, first and foremost, allow me to extend a special welcome to Ambassador of India to Indonesia, His Excellency Mr. Ambassador Sandeep Chakraborty. And also welcome to Ambassador of Indonesia to India, Her Excellency Mrs. Ina Krishnamurti. And next, welcome to Managing Director Treasury BPI Danantara, Bapak Ali Setiawan. And welcome to Deputy for Downstream Investment Strategic of the Ministry Investment and Downstream Industry BKPM, Bapak Heldi Satria Putra. Also, welcome to Chairman of the National Information and Communication Technology Council or Wandiknas, Bapak Ilham Akbar Habibi. Welcome to CEO InvestorTrust.id, Bapak Primus Dorimulu. And welcome to CEO Indonesia Economic Forum, Bapak Sachin Gopalan. And also welcome to everyone who beings here. Thank you for your time to attend this event. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, moving forward, now we will hear the opening speech from the Ambassador of India to Indonesia. To His Excellency Mr. Sandeep Chakraborty, we respectfully invite you to the podium to deliver your speech. Please give our best applause to him.
Good evening, Salamat Malam, Namaskar. Thank you, all of you, for being here this evening. Bapa Heldi Satria Putera, Deputy Minister from BKPM, thank you for being with us. Bapa Ali Satyawan, Managing Director, Treasury of Dharantara, thank you for being with us. We have Dr. Ilham Habibi. Thank you again for being with us. And of course, our co-organizers, Investor Trust, Primas Dorimulu and Sachin Gopalan. We have also many other dignitaries and business persons here. It would be very difficult for me to take the names, but thank you all for joining us. I thought I will be speaking after Primus, so and take some points from what you said, but you have thrown me at the deep end of the pool. But I will start by quoting Dr. Ilham Habibi, because the name is slightly misleading. India Night, some of us thought that it was a cultural evening. So, because the name suggests that, we would have some music and dance, it didn't imagine that it will be serious business. So when Dr. Ilham Habibi asked me, I said, no, be prepared for some serious business talk. So I think you may have attracted some people by the name. They may have thought it's music and dance, but it's real business work. So on that lighter note, I would like to start by, first of all, once again thanking Investors Trust for putting together this platform. We need such platforms to learn about what's happening as far as Indonesian economic scenario is concerned. There's a lot of news and there is some noise, but hearing from people like Pa Heldi and Pa Ali Satyawan gives us information from the horse's mouth. So we are all very eager and keen to know what's happening in Indonesia. As you know, India is a player in terms of economic engagement in Indonesia. Around this room, you will find many companies some of who are headquartered in India, and some of whom are owned by diaspora Indians, people of Indian origin who have lived their lives in Indonesia and are Indonesian, but both of them contribute substantially to the Indonesian economy in terms of generating employment and wealth creation. So it is important to engage as far as the government of Indonesia is concerned. We in the embassy, of course, are engaging with our companies, but it is always better for them to hear from the government of Indonesia about what are the opportunities and what we can do more. So in that context, I think it is important to have this kind of meetings. As far as India being an economic player is concerned, we have been having bilateral trade on an average of about $30 billion in the last 3 years. India is Indonesia's third largest export destination. We sometimes do not acknowledge that, we are not aware of that, but after USA and China, it is India. We were fourth about a year or two back, but after Japan, but now we have become the third largest export destination for Indonesia. And in terms of trade, Indonesia is India's 8th largest trading partner. Again, it shows that the economic engagement between India and Indonesia is large. We do have a free trade agreement with ASEAN. It's not Indonesia specific. We have been, Pa Helda and Pa Ali, trying to engage with the Indonesian Ministry of Trade for a bilateral agreement. But I think both sides have been busy with other bilateral agreements. Indonesia is busy now with concluding the trade deal with the United States. We concluded a trade deal yesterday with the EU, which will be a very, very big deal. I think one of the second and the third largest economic zones of the world have concluded trade deal. But I think time is ripe to engage directly between India and Indonesia. We have the ITGA, which is the ASEAN India Trade in Goods Agreement. That is being reviewed because at the moment that trade deal is more than 15 years old, and the kind of exemptions that we had at that time are no longer valid. And the goods that we traded then, we are no longer trading those. So the trade basket in the last 15 years has shifted and changed. So we find a strange situation where the most traded goods in our trade basket are being taxed, or duties being implied, and there are certain other goods which are not being taxed. So it has created distortions in the trade between India and Indonesia, and we hope to rectify that. I'll give you a small example. If you import steel from India, there is a duty of 5%. But if you export steel from Indonesia, there is no duty. So, and this is just an example. There are many, many other examples where there is distortion in trade because we have not been able to upgrade our free trade agreement with ASEAN. As far as we know, we have almost reached conclusion, and I think the last bit of help is needed from Indonesia to conclude this trade agreement. We had the visit of President Prabowo to India exactly 1 year back. He was in India for the Republic Day, and several agreements were reached. And we also had the CII Kadin CEO Forum, which met after a gap of 7 years. It is now our task to hold the meetings of the working groups that were decided in the CEO Forum and to push ahead the agenda. At the moment, we are working on 7 or 8, rather 8 areas of cooperation between Indonesia and India. They are health, digital technology, finance, energy and critical minerals, food, security, tourism, connectivity, defense, and education. These are the 8 areas in which we propose to propel India, Indonesia economic engagement. And during the course of the evening, you will come to know more about it. But I must say that in every area that President Prabowo and Prime Minister Modi had agreed to work together, we have had some successes. It's not that, we agreed. Mostly what happens is when there are these high-level visits, MOUs are signed and everybody forgets about them. And then when the next high-level visit happens, we touch them and see what happened. But fortunately, as far as India and Indonesia are concerned, we have seen movement in all the 8 areas that were identified. And I think a living example of one such progress is sitting right in front of me in the body of Mr. Naveen Sontalia, who has heralded health sector cooperation and brought a major Indian hospital chain to Indonesia, and they are building a hospital in Batam, and many other areas of cooperation unfolding. Similarly, we have cooperation in pharmaceuticals. Several pharmaceutical factories are being built right now by Indian companies in Indonesia. We have had progress in digital technologies. We will be unveiling very soon certain initiatives in the digital sphere. Integration of QRIS with UPI is taking place. There are some roadblocks in that, but discussions are in a very advanced stage, and very soon we will have a situation where we can scan QRIS in India and UPI in Indonesia and make payments and transfers. We have also been working on food security, which is a major focus area of the current government under the leadership of President Prabowo. The national food company Agrinas has made major contacts and contracts with Indian companies, and we will be seeing large number of Indian vehicles coming into Indonesia, and some of them will also be assembled and later made in Indonesia. Big contracts have been signed with Tata's and with Mahindra for supply of large number of trucks, pickups, and tractors. So our role in the food security program of Indonesia, it is not maybe very visible, but of course many things are happening, which I am very happy to report to all of you. We also if you permit me, Pa Gopalan, I would give a sneak preview. We know that Indonesia is a country of large number of small and medium enterprises, and they find it difficult to find marketplaces. And the Indonesian e-commerce uh, scene is dominated by big players. Similarly, the Indian e-commerce field used to be dominated by big players. What the government of India did was it created an open source network called ONDC, one open source Open Network for Digital Commerce, ONDC. And that has now picked up slowly but surely in India, and we are seeing millions of transactions every month on that network. We propose to bring that technology and that concept to Indonesia, and very soon we will be launching in Indonesia the Indonesia Open Network, which will allow MSMEs and small entrepreneurs to sell and buy and sell on that platform with very, very low platform fees. Since it is network centric, there will not be much of investment in terms of building the platform. It will be actually owned by everybody who is partnering, and that may become a game changer. Again, this decision was taken during the visit of President Prabowo, where India and Indonesia agreed that they will work together for digital public infrastructure in India and Indonesia. And ION will be a very, very good example of that kind of collaboration. We also have membership of Indonesia in BRICS. Last year, Indonesia joined BRICS. This year, the BRICS summit is in India. We expect President Prabowo to travel to India later in this year, and that will add another layer of cooperation between India and Indonesia. We also have the AI Impact Summit in India in February. We will have a strong participation of Indonesia in that platform because Indonesia is moving very fast on the implementation of AI for citizen services, and there is something which India and Indonesia can learn from what the best practices in the world. So there again, there is some collaboration proceeding between India and Indonesia. I will end by saying that one area where we are very much interested in working with Indonesia is in critical minerals. We will be having a visit by our Secretary or Vice Minister for Steel in February, and we propose to organize a critical minerals conference in association with Danantara and BKPM, and we hope that investments and cooperation in this area of critical minerals, particularly in steel, coking coal, in chromium and nickel would emerge from this. So I tried to give you a summary of what has been happening between India and Indonesia in the last few months. We also have, Ali, for your information, several Indian companies who are invested in Indonesia. Some of them have issues which are pending for a long time. I would, and these are not actually major issues. There are small irritants. I have personally raised some of them with Pa Roshan and Pa Pandu. I would request your intervention and help in addressing some of them. And maybe during the course of the evening, I would request Indian investors that if they have any issues with Danantara or BKPM, please raise them because we have in a way captive the Deputy Minister and Pa Ali, and they would be happy to address your question. At least they can give you points of reference where you can then follow up on. I think it is very important. Every country seeks new investment, but I think the challenge is also to keep existing investors happy. I think we have been proposing that we have a working group on investment where problems that investors face can be sorted out. I will give you one small example. Two Indian investors in the steel sector, they have exited Indonesia, which is sad because they were pioneer investors. One is Mr. Lakshmi Mittal with his steel plant in Surabaya. He has exited, and the other is Jindal Steel. And these were issues which could have been addressed because primarily the problem they faced was dumping of steel in the Indonesian market. So Indonesian producers were at a disadvantage. This could have been addressed, but we were not able to address them. And these two major global players exited Indonesia. We would want an arrangement or a facility where problems of investors could be addressed. And I think today is one such opportunity. And I would request Indian companies around the tables here to raise your queries with BKPM and Dhanantara and see how they can help you. Also, Pa Ali, we hear that Dhanantara is interested in investing and they're looking for co-investors. So if anyone has investment proposals, I think again, we should raise them with Dhanantara. With these words, I thank all of you once again for being with us this evening. And particular thanks to Pa Primus and Sachin for bringing all of us together. Thank you very much. Terima kasih banyak.
Thank you so much, His Excellency Mr. Ambassador Sandip Chakraborty, for the welcoming speech. Okay, so our next speech will be delivered by the Ambassador of Indonesia to India, Her Excellency Mrs. Ina Krishnamurti. So everyone, ladies and gentlemen, please give your attention to the screen to welcoming the speech of Her Excellency Mrs. Ina Krishnamurti.
Good evening, Namaskar. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. All protocol observed. First and foremost, I would like to thank Bapak Primus Dorimulu, the CEO of Investor Trust, for inviting me to give this video message, and of course, Pak Sachin Gopalan for the push. I wish I was there with you all at the venue, joining all the fun and enlightening conversation. I'm so grateful that I'm still here with you to share this moment, and I commend the Investor Trust for organizing this timely event, not only to deliberate on substantial matters relating to cooperation between our countries, but also to celebrate the friendship between two nations and the shared heritage of our cultures. After all, we all know that between Indonesia and India, the relationship is about two H capital letters, heart and history. A kind of connection that goes far beyond diplomacy or economy. Across the Bay of Bengal, our shared story stretches for over 2 millennia. We have exchanged cultural traditions, wisdom, and philosophical influences that have shaped the very foundation of our civilizations. These connections are not distant memories because they still live in our languages, our arts, and even in our shared struggle for independence and anti-colonial solidarity. So when we speak of Indonesia and India, we are not just talking about cooperation, we are talking about the spirit of solidarity, we are talking about shared destiny, and the most important one, we are talking about family. With the enhancing and deepening of the comprehensive strategic partnership after the state visit of President Prabowo Subianto as the chief guest at India's 76th Republic Day, we have entered an elevation and more focused chapter of our relations with the two big capital letters, partnership with purpose. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, at the beginning of this year, Minister Rosan Roslani stated that high economic growth, which for Indonesia the aspiration is 8%, is not just a number that continues to increase, but it must also be accompanied by sustainable and continuous growth. And to achieve this kind of growth, the most important thing is job creation. Of course, quality jobs, where investment plays a significant role to absorb 2.6 million to 2.8 million people per year. India's investment in Indonesia is growing, with figures estimated around 54 billion US dollars, though often routed via Singapore, highlighting potential for more direct funding in Indonesia's expanding sectors, including EV, health, and digital infrastructure. But numbers alone don't tell the whole story. Behind every investment, every project, every partnership, there are people. And many of those people are right here in the room tonight. A special salute and kudos to the Indonesia-India business community. You are not only entrepreneurs, professionals, innovators, you are also important bridge of trust between our countries. Your stories, relationship, networks, they are priceless. And tonight is your night to connect, collaborate, and imagine what more we can build together. This evening, we also see a moment full of opportunity. Under President Prabowo, Indonesia is focused on creating an economy that is open, dynamic, and full of opportunity. With our young population and strong domestic market, Indonesia is committed to inclusive growth. With Minister Rosan wearing two hats, leading BKPM and also serving as CEO of Danantara, there has never been a clearer entry point for investors. This alignment between policy, implementation, and strategic investment is now truly special. For our Indian partners, you are all fully aware that the opportunities are wide open in Indonesia. Downstream industries and mineral processing, green and renewable energy, digital transformation and AI, healthcare innovation, infrastructure and logistics, tourism, you name it, you'll get it. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I believe we share the same hope that the planned visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji to Indonesia, hopefully, inshallah, in the first semester of 2026, will open another new chapter in our economic and strategic relations. What you all have started tonight, the conversations, the partnerships, the ideas will contribute directly to shaping that visit. To conclude, let me reiterate one thing. Indonesia and India share something that is rare. Deep history, strong trust, and an unshakable belief in each other's potentials. I strongly believe that tonight is not just a networking event, it is a celebration of how far we have become and a reminder of how much more we can achieve together. Let us continue to weave our strength, combine our creativity, and open doors for more investment, more collaboration, and more shared prosperity for our two peoples. Thank you very much for your attention. Terima kasih banyak. Have a great evening. Danyalat. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Namaskar.
Thank you so much for Mrs. Ina Krishnamurti for the speech. And even though we are unable to have her tonight together with us, but still, again, ladies and gentlemen, please give our best applause to Mrs. Ina Krishnamurti. Thank you so much. And before we proceed to our next agenda, please kindly direct your attention to the screen.
Artificial intelligence is impacting the world like never before. And the world has moved from Bletchley Park to Seoul, from Paris, and now in 2026, all eyes turn to India in our collective quest for a global governance for responsible AI. Each step has sharpened our collective resolve to make artificial intelligence safe, inclusive, and actionable. On February 19th and 20th, world leaders, alongside the entire AI ecosystem, governments, industry, researchers, academia, startups, and students will converge in New Delhi, India. Their mission? To shape strategies on how this powerful technology can be harnessed for humanity's greater good. The India AI Impact Summit will be inaugurated by Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we have to move to our next agenda, and it is a great honor to invite the chairman of the National Information and Communication Technology Council, or One Tiknas, to share his insights with us together tonight. Okay, to Mr. Ilham Akbar Habibi, we respectfully invite you to the stage to deliver your special remarks. And the stage is yours.
Your Excellency, the Ambassador to Indonesia, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, and I'm very glad to be here on stage, a bit as a surprise. I didn't know I have to give a speech, actually. But I like to continue what the ambassador said, also both ambassadors said. My own experience, the chemistry between Indonesians and Indians is actually very good. We have a strong cultural commonalities, things that we understand instinctively, looking around, we find in both countries. Same kind of challenges also. What is, I think Indian entrepreneurs, they find it relatively easy to maneuver in Indonesia, and so do actually Indonesians as well. I myself went with Sachin, my dear friend and partner since 20 years, a few times to India, and I went to Bangalore particularly, but also to New Delhi. And I saw a lot of amazing companies there that have grown in particularly the digital sector, but also in many others. And I've spoken also to, when I saw this video, the short video that was emphasizing the chances and challenges for AI, there was two small, what can I say, statements, AI for good and AI for humanity that I caught there. And I think I saw this in many businesses in India, that they're not only doing business to make money, but they also care about the benefit for society at large. Yeah? I mean, it was India that came up with the idea of digital public infrastructure, and I had the honor and pleasure to meet Mr. Nandan, yes, exactly, the minister then, and then he's now head of the X-Step Foundation in New Delhi, and I think these kind of ideas, they can be applied anywhere, right? And I think what the ambassador also mentioned, the ION, the Indonesia Open Network, is something that we can learn from the Indian experience. And here I speak from also as my current role being the chairman of the so-called National ICT Council, the Wantiknas. This is something where Indonesians can learn from the Indian experience, because India has been quite advanced for some years when it comes to digital matters, not only on the business side, but also how to use it in the public sphere to give a benefit to all Indians at the same time. So, and I believe many of the ladies and gentlemen in the room I've met before, and many are here for many, many years, even already second generation. And this is also another example. It's not only about the business, but about the personal links that we have between one another. Well, as we all know, Indonesia, you can see it in the name already. The term was coined by German scientists, I think in the 19th century, which he wanted to describe the islands here as the extension of India, the Indian islands, or Indonesia. So you can see from the name already that there is a historic link between our nations from a cultural and also from a historic perspective, and we like to propagate that through business and other means that we are working now together. I'm quite sure that under the leadership of President Prabowo, who is very determined to make Indonesia a strong middle power in the current world, which I think has a lot of challenges ahead, but it is countries like Indonesia and India, I think, that are necessary to step up to the challenge and do more business between them. The overly sometimes dependence on our traditional trading partners, I think for strategic reasons, need to be lessened. And it is the South-South collaboration, if I may say this as an Indonesian, the so-called Bandung spirit, which we found in 1955, it's India, Indonesia, then Yugoslavia and some other countries were foundation of the so-called non-aligned movement, which was born exactly 76 years ago. Last year we had the 75 years anniversary, and I think that Bandung spirit we should emphasize and push, so it will bring more prosperity to the global South in general. I think that's all I have to say. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to say a few words, and I give it back to the moderator. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Mr. Ilham Akbar Habibi for those insightful and enlightening remarks. Please, again, give our best applause to him, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. And now we will proceed to the next keynote speeches. And we will hear from Mr. Ali Setiawan as the Managing Director Treasury BPI Danantara and Mr. Heldi Satria Putra, Deputy at the Ministry of Investment. And each session will be followed by Q&A session. And to begin, I would like to invite Mr. Ali Setiawan to the podium to deliver the first keynote speech to this event.
Terima kasih. Good evening, His Excellency Bapak Sandip Chakravorty, Ambassador of India to Indonesia, Bapak Dr. Ilham Habibie, Executive Chairman of National Information and Communication Technology Council, Ibu Ina Kristamurti, Ambassador of Indonesia to India, Bapak Heldi Satria Putra, Deputi Bidang Hilirisasi Investasi Strategis Kementerian Investasi dan Hilirisasi, Bapak Primus Dorimulu, CEO of Investor Trust, and Bapak Sachin Kopalan, Director of Investor Trust. And all the esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, first of all, for inviting Danantara for this event. And we are very honored to be here. And this event beautifully hosted by the Embassy of India and also Investor Trust. A very good theme, weaving collaboration and driving investment in both countries. Just a little bit about my background. Actually, I've worked in financial sectors for almost 30 years, mostly in foreign banks in Australia and Indonesia. So I'm actually not used to these beautiful briefing notes prepared by our communications team, so thank you very much. But I'm used to just basically shared about the experience that we are going through right now. First of all, I was announced back in March 2025. Before that, I was with HSBC for 18 years, and before that was 17 years in Australia with Citibank as well. And my background has always been in building global markets business, treasury, DCM, and custody. So maybe the first question was, why I'm now with Danantara. So that's going to be a long story, so we can talk about it later on. And by the way, I didn't apply for the job, but here I am. So a lot of the stories that we have to basically went through last year. But I'm just going to share a little bit about Danantara first. We've got a lot of pointers here about Danantara Indonesia, but more than happy to answer the questions later on. Yeah. So Danantara Indonesia, maybe most of you have heard about us as the state-owned enterprises-based sovereign wealth fund established last year by the government and reports directly to the president with basically a dual mandate. The setup of Danantara Indonesia, we have two sub-holding company. One, it's called Danantara Asset Management, which looks after all the SOE companies, 1,000 plus and still countings, with the intention to actually reduce the number of companies. By the way, as you all know, maybe you didn't know, and I also learned about it when I'm inside Danantara. Almost half of the company is actually in red. Yeah? They're not actually making money. And a lot of also companies being set up just to basically facilitating a lot of transactions. But the intentions right now with DAM, the focus will be on basically restructuring a lot of the companies. Starting, of course, as much as we want to look at the good one, all the emails that come will be the urgent one, which is the companies that is actually going through difficult times, and we need to basically support them. We're going to look at a lot of restructuring, setting up a lot of holding companies, and also at the same time looking at basically a best practices policy for transparency. We found out that we have a lot of non-focused companies. So for example, we found out that we have 160 plus hotels, amazing, right, across different companies. We have 60 plus hospitals as well. So there will be a lot of holding companies being set up. And all these companies, all these assets will be taken out from all these SOE, and basically they'll be focusing on their focus business, and all these business will be consolidated into one holding company. So they have actually set up a lot of the working groups, 21 of them, to look at a view each of the sectors, yeah, from constructions, pharmaceuticals, etc. And also then we have the other company, which is what we call Danantara Investment Management. This company is completely new, totally new. We set up everything from ground zero. So if there were a lot of questions last year about Danantara, we all know, all the eyes is watching us, a lot of expectations need to be answered. And there were a lot of questions. What did you guys do, right? Where's the money goes? Where's the investment? Every time I'm facing that questions, my answer will be very simple. All of us and the team that started with just me alone, and then I hired a few very talented Indonesians. Start locally. If I couldn't find it here, I'll find Indonesian diaspora outside. So I hired a few very talented Indonesians, one of them from Goldman Sachs, New York, another one young boy from Bridgewater, New York as well. There was another one also from Hong Kong. We started to basically strengthen the branch strength of the team. When we hired all these professionals from very reputable organizations, of course, our intention is just not to move fast, right? Especially I look after treasury and public markets investment, includes equity, capital markets, pasar modal. We just didn't want just deploy, right? We need to set up all the framework like what we used to work with back when we were working in a professional institutions. So we spent almost a few months to make sure that all the framework that we have will comply with the taxonomy included in the Undang-Undang Nomor 1, Law Number 1, and then recently being revised to Law Number 16. So and I also learned a lot of new jargons, right, in these institutions. Policy, they call it perka. The other thing they call perdir, kepsir, and all of that. So we need to set up. Well, I'm actually when I worked for the for HSBC before, everything the blueprint is all done, right? We just have to follow that policy. But right now we basically have to write everything again. SOP, investment mandate, guideline, policy, the perka, permitted instruments, conflicts of interest register, all of that. Because we used to work based on that control policies and functions. So it takes a long time because there was a lot of back and forth discussions with the legal. And as much as we want to make it easy, we also need to comply with some of the governance at the typical BUMN SOE companies. But the good news is, all I can tell you is there was a little bit of delay because there was the revisions in the law itself, but it's all pretty much almost done. Yeah. So I think we can start moving. So if we look at 2026, we call it is the year of deployment for us. As much as we want to move fast, we want to make sure that before we deploy, we are not going to be questioned eventually, right? What sort of SOP that you follow, and what's your investment mandate and all of that. So we all have that. 2026, there will be a lot of activities. There were already a few announcements from Danantara Investment Management on the project that we look at. We are focusing on the 8 key sectors. I believe if you want a little bit of information from Danantara, we can share with you. I look after investor relations team as well, so as much as possible, more than happy to have the engagement with all of you. On these 8 key sectors, there were a few projects that we look at. And on the pipelines that we look at, we understand that a lot of these projects are big projects. The first in the country, there was no precedent in the country, so there's still going to be a lot of work, due diligence, and visibility studies needed. That's one, which is why we also set up another set of pipelines, what we call a quick win deals. So we are open to work also with partners, right? Mentioned by His Excellency just then. We co-partnerships and co-invest with the private sectors, dalam negeri, onshore, or even from foreign investors. We don't have to be majority. We can be the minority. The offtake itself is a SOE companies, so we are more than happy to work with these companies as well. Then the other sector that we're looking at it on the strategic investment. The strategic investment is basically investment mandated by the president. So it's mandated by the presidential decree. We call it Impress. One of the example, like the waste to energy projects, all of you have heard so much in the media. It took how many years, like few years, for the private sectors to tap into this. It was quite difficult to penetrate because we're talking about dealing with many stakeholders. So which is why Danantara was mandated with the presidential decree so that we can orchestrate the discussions with the PEMDA, the provincial governments, with the Ministry of Finance for the subsidies, Ministries of Energy for the offtake price, etc. So we have announced the partners, 24 partners for these projects, and also at the same time launching in 4 cities in Indonesia. So the strategic project is something that may take a while, but we are moving, I think, quite fast right now. On the private projects, there were already a few projects that we have announced, including investment overseas to bring the technology and technology transfer here in Indonesia. And then at the same time also, I look after the public markets investment because part of our dual mandate is also to deepen the local markets in the financial sectors as well. So I've been quite active and involved in the discussions with many regulators before. Before I also act as the chairman of Financial Markets Committee, so I have a lot of engagement and discussions with the regulators on how to deepen the onshore market. On the governance, these are always the other questions. At the beginning of the announcement of Danantara, everyone's saying that, oh, you guys are going to be just like another one MDB and stuff like that, right? I can reassure you that's not going to happen, right? If that's going to be the case, maybe after 1 month, I'll quit, right? So I explained to you before, I hired a lot of these individuals, and they all work in a very credible, reputable organizations. If I cannot share with them that this is what we're going to do, right, and this is what we're going to have before we move forward, all of them are not going to join us. They have a very good life. They don't need this job. And by the way, you cannot just say, okay, this is for Merah Putih, please come back, right? And the fact is, when I try to explain to them, look, I need to set up the team because we're going to do this, and this, and then this is how we're going to help actually these institutions, yeah, so that we can move forward healthy, safe. Like what I've shared with the team is we need just to make sure that we need to build a very solid, safe platform so that when we move forward, we can move forward basically comfortably without worried, not having a good sleep, and then you will be questions on this and that. So all of these talented individuals, they join us to do the right thing. But of course, it takes a long time because when we trying to set up, for example, a cut loss policy, everyone's asking, why are you making this? It's not common in the asset management company, but yeah, we need to have that, right? And then the other parts also, when we went through a few of the private deals, there's not even a single person who can decide just go ahead and do this deal, right? That deal will basically cook through the IC charter in the DIM, and it will go through the proper risk governance forum before it actually will go up to the holding company. There's another risk management and investment governance forum as well before we can actually go ahead with the investment. Well, that's the process that we have set up because we want to make sure that we have a robust framework, governance framework, even including in our investment. I've learned from all the other institutions as well, they don't have a straight-through processing system. Some of them actually manually recorded. That's not going to be the case with us. So we are also working to set up our STP systems front to back. So that systems will provide transparency in terms of the risk matrix, compliance, valuations, reporting, and also escalations on a breach. So Thank you very much, comms teams. You have actually prepared beautiful notes on this, but I've basically just shared with them what we have gone through, where we are right now, and what we are going to do. So if any of you would like to ask about the activities going forward for Danantara, more than happy to share with you. Last but not least, aligned with President Prabowo's vision on economic growth, solid economic growth, and also the Golden Indonesia 2045, I believe Danantara will be able to play a key role to support this initiative. Like I said before, when I shared to the team, I told them pressure is a privilege for us working in Danantara. You will get a lot of complaints, you will get a lot of questions that you need to answer, but as long as you can stay strong and do what we are supposed to do, don't worry about that. And I understand right now the situation's not that conducive with the global situations and also the geopolitical tension. For a close, I just say, don't worry, continue to invest in Indonesia because we are too good to be ignored. So thank you very much for your attention and all the best this year.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ali Setiawan, and we kindly remind you at the podium because we will continue our next session. It is a Q&A session. And to lead the Q&A session, please welcome our moderator tonight, the CEO of Indonesia Economic Forum, Mr. Sachin Gopalan. Please give applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I must congratulate Pa Primus and Ambassador for the format of the event today. Because usually we are used to events where the minister comes, gives a speech, everybody has dinner, then you go home. But how do we actually engage in a deeper, more meaningful way with an institution like BKPM and Danantara, who are so essential to what we are doing here in this country? And a format like this really gives us an opportunity to deep engage and deep interact with people. And I can ask the kind of questions that have been on your mind, which you would be able to then, bring up in the forum like this. And we are lucky to have here Pa Ali Setiawan, who had a fantastic sharing of how Danantara came to be and how Danantara works. So I would like in the room, and do we have a mic that can go around to people for questions? Ada? Yes, okay, so he's at the back. I'll kick off the session first. We have approximately about, totally how many minutes for the whole session? 20 minutes, okay. So while you guys prepare questions, please think hard because I think you won't get an opportunity like this to deep engage with what your business can do with Danantara. Like Pa Ali had just mentioned today that Danantara is looking for co-investments. They're looking to work together with all kinds of companies in the sectors that they have prioritized. And he mentioned some of the sectors already. And I think this is an opportunity for us to understand that can our business, the business that you're in, have some role with Danantara? And I think to kick it off, Pa Ali, if I may ask you the first question. Yeah. You know, and I think you heard a lot about the kind of sectors that Indian companies are in Indonesia. And what comes to your mind as if you were at Danantara and you were to invite Indian companies? Yep. What is the approach you would take? I mean, say, what kind of sectors would you advise for Indian companies to think about? Because this entire thing is new. Yeah. People are not used to understanding the role of Danantara. Now they're slowly getting to understand. Yeah. Now the engagement part will start happening when they are able to assess and then take decisions even within their organization. So any words of priority sectors, etc., you feel India can contribute? Sure. Over to you, sir.
Sure. Terima kasih, Pak. Well, I shared actually earlier that we have a few lists of pipelines that we are focusing for the next 5 years. So we have actually planned our ramp-up period sort of like planning. I've learned about RKAP as well. That's also one of the things I've learned. So on the strategic projects is basically all the projects that's basically mandated by the government because Indonesia critically needs it.
Yes.
And private sector finds it difficult to actually tap into these projects. So we may or may not have the potential investors. So we are actually willing to be the biggest investors. But we were quite surprised that there were a lot when we announced the bidding for these projects. There were a lot of interest from a few countries, and then they look at also because they also have expertise and they have been successful in delivering these projects in their respective countries. And then on the projects that we're looking at, of course, Danantara being Danantara, we want part of the objectives is to consolidate all the SOE companies, right? So that more efficiency, better engine for growth. On the other hand, we want to leverage the investment so that we can produce a better return, not just for economic impact, but also for also having an added value social impact, right? So we look at good, healthy commercial IRR return projects, but that's not just it. We also look at how we can actually help Indonesia sustainably because we are talking about intergenerational investment. I may not be around as long as this investment will generate a lot of very strong national economic impact and social impact for the country. So all of that, we take that into account. So for example, when we look at the project, it's not just capital intensive. We want to look at labor, let's say, intensive projects. Because the idea is also to create a lot more human capital resources for Indonesians. So a few sectors that we look at, for example, like hilirisasi, the downstreaming, that's one. Of course, because naturally we are countries rich of natural resources. Healthcare is something that I heard about I was surprised actually by investment in Batam. So that's another area that we also focus on, and we also have a few projects lining up, like the blood plasma projects. Technology, digital infrastructure is also something that we are looking at as well. Renewable energy, of course, yeah, and of course industrial estates. Yeah, that's also something that we want to look at because it's part of the initiative that we can basically align with national initiatives and also in terms of a lot of the added value benefits for the Indonesian.
Thank you. Any questions in the room? Would you like to, anyone? Yes, we have a show of hands. Please, can we have the mic go ahead? Please introduce yourself very briefly in one line and then ask a question directly. Yes.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Nitesh. I actually run a tech startup called Sakilo. We're building an AI-driven food supply infrastructure, which is basically serving SMEs and government demands. So my question to you, Pa, is, does Danantara invest in growth stage startups that directly support national priorities, like the food security and the Mbege free meal program that the government has to offer? Yeah. Thank you.
The answer is yes and no, because naturally, public sector obligations initiatives should be funded by the government budgets. While Danantara, as I've explained earlier, we are an SOE-based sovereign wealth fund. So our funding actually comes from all the SOE dividends. So, but at the same time, we're also supporting a few of the government national priorities, like the waste to energy project that I have mentioned earlier, because basically the country critically needs it. We don't have a very good success stories in that area because we have a really big problem in terms of our waste management. So Danantara being given a task to lead the role to support this initiative and, like I said, orchestrate the discussions with many different stakeholders. We're talking about a few different ministries, local government for the supply of waste and everything. So, but that is, we are looking at that project, 2 projects right now on the strategic list. But we are trying to build all the other projects in our private deal segment. Now, on the startup, it's not in our priorities right now, but we are open for any discussions. And if there's something that we can link up to the priorities, especially if it's a national priorities, then it's something that we can discuss further with the different stakeholders.
Got it. Thank you, Pat.
Yes. Gentleman here on this, please introduce yourself. Yes.
Good evening. My name is Morris Tarigan from Larsen and Toubro. Okay. In 2020, the government of Indonesia, in fact, has already invited a lot of companies when they issued the job law creations by accepting 100% of foreign investment in Indonesia. So we are in fact operating. At the time we participated on that the is how to make business in Indonesia, and we have created the EPC contractor company in Indonesia. In the last 4 years, we can say there are a certain criteria that at the time is allowed us to participate for the projects. My questions now is about the governance, as what you highlighted before. Is there any kind of a system? Because in the situation in 2026, looks like there is one new prerequisite to block us to participate for the tenders on that part of the SOE inside Danantara. So if we have a kind of system, can if it's already a system on board, can we access on that one? Then each time we have some issues, we can have, we can say a formal, as what you mentioned, as a frameworks that we can participate it or report it to the system. Because the issues for us is what the regulation change. Because when the regulation change, it's so difficult for the investment. Particularly, I think our investors, our shareholders clearly wants to make sure the regulation will not change in the last 5 years, at least, or maybe even next 10 years. That's the current situations. If Pak Ali Setiawan can help on that points. Thank you so much, Pak.
Yeah, Pak. Unfortunately, Pak, in my position sitting at the holding, I may not be able to give you the whole answer, because a lot of these activities, if it's related to with the SOE companies as well, if it's investment, in terms of the approval, everything, it will have to go through the BKPM, but also at the same time, if it's related to partnership with SOE companies, it's actually being handled by DAM companies. The risk framework that we talk about is actually the risk framework that we set up in the DIM companies and also at the holding company. If you ask me whether there is a particular framework that we work upon before, yes, there is, because we need to abide by the new law, Undang-Undang Nomor 16, on basically BUMN activities. So we basically drafted a lot of the perka covering many different elements, including investment as well. And that will be actually used sebagai pedoman strategis, Pak, that we need to comply in the two subholdings and the respective companies. So subsequently, in investment management companies, we also need to produce a policy framework separately, even though with a much wider scope, because the heavy lifting and the risk-taking, a lot of the risk-taking will be at the investment management. So we have a much more rigorous and also granular policy set up within the investment management. And of course, at the same time, we have a very strong, robust checks, because we have also set up an internal audit teams as well within the institution at the holding and also at DIM companies. Maybe separately we can discuss that with the respective team in DAM eventually. Terima kasih, Pak.
Thank you. Any other questions in the room? Yes, please.
I also didn't expect a lot of questions, so
I'm Siddharth from Adani Group. You spoke very well. I have a question on today's development on Indonesia Stock Exchange.
Yeah.
Of action taken by MSCI.
Okay.
So how will it impact investor confidence, and does Danantara has any plan to address that issue?
Okay.
Thank you.
First of all, Danantara, we are not regulator of financial markets, but we can participate, right, to improve the development of our financial markets. First of all, India market, well done, right? When you guys started, it was like nowhere, now like almost, I think, 18% to close to 20% weighting, which is very good. I have to think about the word. The development of Indonesia financial markets, it's kind of like a mixed development, right? If I look at the financial markets on the money market, FX, I think the role of Bank Indonesia played a key role in supporting the development of the markets and also deepening of the markets. So if we look at the development of the daily liquidities in the money markets, FX have grown so much, almost like 5 times. We have consolidated a lot of the regulations on foreign currency transactions against local currencies. We have also expand and also relaxed the permitted underlying instruments, for activities. They've also launched a lot of new instruments to improve a lot of liquidity in the interbank markets with repo transactions, etc. Great, right? But there's still a lot of room for improvements. One is on the interest rate benchmark. It's something that's progressing, but I think we still need working to develop a lot of these risk mitigations instruments for companies in Indonesia. And then in equity market, I'm not gonna lie to you guys because you guys can see the numbers, right? The liquidities and the volumes is actually concerning, right? To the point that if we look at our MSCI index weighting, it's become irrelevant. It's become irrelevant. I can understand the frustrations coming from MSCI because they have actually shared a lot with all the counterparts, with the players, with the securities companies, and seems like all that concern was not being answered. And then through the consultative paper that was shared last year, Danantara also have played a role in terms of sharing the concerns, because that will also impact our companies in our portfolios, and then also at the same time giving the suggestions. But again, we are not the regulator. The homework will have to be basically answered by BEI, the stock exchange, the OJK, and also KSE, right? Because the concerns right now is about the shareholding structure and also the transparency of that data. But everyone knows, right? I mean, a lot of these penny stocks, or we call it the Konglo stocks in Indonesia, is basically dominating now the markets, right? We understand that we will not be able to eliminate all these affiliated flows, even in India, even in US, but that portion is only less than 5 or 3%, right, of the total activities. In Indonesia, it's almost 40%. It's almost 40%. So of course, it's a lot of these transactions is non-fundamental, basically flows. And when they actually announced the consultation paper, they understand that was not the definitive answer, but there need to be a response and reforms from our regulators as well to make sure that the see-throughs is proper and there is an actions to eliminate a lot of these, reduce a lot of these flows. So I cannot answer further. All I can tell you is it's reached to the top because, as you know, it's one of the big correction today from the announcement. But they're expecting it's something that it's coming up because we have discussed this since like September last year. And I hope there will be a very strong response in terms of the actions and initiative from the regulators, and that will convince MSCIs and the other index provider as well. And we have 3 months to go. Yeah? I still believe that we'll be able to reach a mutual agreement in terms of the information that they need. And if you look at some of those companies, the fundamental companies, they're still very strong. Where else you can find a PE of 7 to 9, dividend yield of 9%, ROEs double-digit 15%, very good PBT. You can check. There's a lot of good companies there.
Good one. Yeah. Any other questions in the room? Malvika, do you have any questions which may have come from investors coming into Indonesia through the embassy? And have there been any questions about Danantara that you'd like to address? Can I have the mic here to Ibu Malvika? Yeah.
Good evening. I've been listening very intently because we are all very curious to see how Danantara can play a critical role in helping our investors. I'm the commercial counselor from Embassy of India. So I was just wondering, since you mentioned we are going to be deployed in 2026, so is there any timeline when some of these BUMN companies, particularly in the critical minerals sector, would announce projects or any investable opportunities for India's companies, particularly BUMN companies from India who are now looking at arrangements for securing resource supply chain arrangements, offtake arrangements, and co-investments. Thank you.
Terima kasih. Thank you. So maybe I'll just start by, just to clarify first, in terms of the activities. At DAM level, apart from the consolidation, restructuring, capital injection that we're going to do, all the other companies, the healthy companies, it will be BAU. If they need extra capital, they will ask for a capital call to Danantara, and basically we'll assess it and we'll basically support them. So for example, all of you have heard about the Garuda's event. It's not actually our investment. It's part of our shareholder support for the company, because we believe we can basically fix the issues in Garuda, and they're going to be a very good, healthy company going forward. So all the activities initiative at the DM portfolio of companies, it will be as it is, based on their own capital. But if they need partners on the projects, they may actually raise this with us on the DIM side, and we are more than happy to partners with them as well on the projects. While on DIM, we are looking for all the new projects, basically. It could be something where, like I said, aligning with the national government priorities. And of course, also at the same time, to focus on a few sectors that we think there will be a lot of added values, and also in terms of commercial IR returns will be very good for our investment. And with that initiatives, it could be us as the majority. We can also work with our partners to co-invest with the partners. It could be private sectors. It can be also sovereign institution as well. One of the examples that we have announced on the co-invest with QIA and CIC, and we are basically working on a few projects that could be a new initiatives for these two funds. It could be also with the local private sectors as well, like the Chandra Sri deal that we have announced. It's all in the media, right? And we work with them because they have actually done a good job in terms of managing this business, and at the same time there's a need also because the offtake will be the SOE companies as well. So activities at DAM will be as per their BAU strategic plan and initiatives. We can be their partner too, but at the same time we're also looking at our own portfolio of pipelines and deals. The focus for 2026, obviously in terms of deployment, majority will start from the public markets investment. It could be onshore, it could be offshore. And then part of the, about 20% of that funding will be for our strategic projects, like the waste to energy, because we have kickstarted that projects. And also our investment in Saudi as well, which all of you also have heard in the media. The other projects may take about 2-3 years, but we are also quite confident that on the quick win deals, we can work also with the private sectors, and soon I think all of you will hear about it in the media as well.
Thank you. Though we have finished time, if you may, can I ask you one very important question? I'll tell you why. Because I was with the Minister of MSME, Pa Maman Abdurrahman, on Friday, and he mentioned to me the greatest challenge Indonesia is facing today is something intergenerational. Is manufacturing in Indonesia going to disappear? Because we are facing challenges from products made in China being dumped into Indonesia, and MSME sector and many of the sectors, even the companies in this room, are affected. Does Danantara believe it is important to invest in bringing back manufacturing in Indonesia?
All I can say is we are not ashamed to say we can copy with pride. So if we think our partners have the best technology, have the best practices that we can bring here, we are more than happy to work with them. We can co-invest with them first. In fact, there were actually a few projects in our pipeline where we will invest in the holding company or the subsidiary of a company with the condition that they bring that technology and know-how for the manufacturing activity in Indonesia. So that is part of the thing that we are looking at, because like I said, we focus on a lot of the labor-intensive projects for Indonesia in the future. And yeah, like I said, if we don't have it, we have to copy. Yeah, we copy with pride. Could be copy from India as well. It's okay.
Yeah. Okay, a warm round of applause for Pa Ali Setiawan. Thank you very much, sir.
Once again, my apology. Bapak Rosan supposedly here, but he was stuck in, his flight was delayed, so he basically would like to be here with you, all of you, but apology for the delay.
I believe he's still on the flight.
Yeah.
Right now, he's not landed yet.
Thank you very much, and all the best, all of you, this year.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ali Setiawan and Mr. Sachin Gopalan. Please stay on the stage. Please stay on the stage, both of you, because after this, Mr. Ali Setiawan will receive appreciation from the Embassy of India. And we also invite His Excellency, Mr. Sandip Chakraborty, to join us back on the stage to present the appreciations. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this appreciation given by His Excellency Mr. Sandip Chakraborty from the Embassy of India to Mr. Ali Setiawan, Managing Director Treasury BPI Danantara. Please give your best applause to both of them, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to thank you to everyone here who involved this Q&A session with Mr. Ali and Mr. Sachin Gopalan as our moderator tonight. Okay, after the appreciation given by His Excellency Mr. Sandip Chakraborty, let's continue to take photo together to this special moment. And 3, 2, 1, cheers! Once again, 1, 2, 3, smile! Please give our best applause to Mr. Ali Setiawan, to His Excellency Mr. Sandip Chakraborty, and thank you so much for Mr. Sachin Gopalan to lead the Q&A sessions. And everyone, please have a seat again, yeah. And we will continue our next agenda tonight. And next, we respectfully invite Mr. Heldi Satria Putra, Deputy for Downstream Investment Strategic at the Ministry of Investment and Downstream Industry BKPM, to deliver the second keynote speech.
Thank you. His Excellency Mr. Sandip Chakraborty, Ambassador of India to the Republic of Indonesia. Bapak Dr. Ilham Habibi, as the Chairman of National ICT Council. Then Bapak Iwan Setiawan, Managing Director for Treasury from BPI Danantara. And also Bapak Primus from Investor Trust.go.id. And also Bapak Sachin Gopalan, Director also from Investor Trust.go.id. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum, selamat malam, good evening. I think it's already almost 9 o'clock and you have had a dinner, so I don't know whether you still can wake up, to to hear my speech or not. First and foremost, I'm honored to attend this event and represent the Honorable Minister of Investment and Downstream from Indonesia, Bapak Rosan. Pak Iwan already mentioned that actually he really wants to attend this event, but his schedule has been changed, delay, and he's not able to attend this event this evening. On this occasion, I would like to express my sincere appreciation and gratitude to the Embassy of India and also to investor trust.go.id for organizing this event. This is very important, I think, for us, to share information about investment in Indonesia to all of you. And actually, I have been given some information about economic of Indonesia, but the ambassador told me that mostly the audience this evening based in Indonesia, from India but based in Indonesia. I think I don't need to give a very detailed information about the economy of Indonesia, but I believe, because I believe that you have known all the information about the economy of Indonesia, for example, about how big Indonesian economy, compared to the ASEAN. I think you already known about this. You know exactly also about the population as the domestic market of Indonesia. And maybe I would like to share with you, about the opportunity, of investment in Indonesia. Actually, we would like to invite investors, from India to invest in what we call it downstream industry. Because we have made the roadmap of downstream industry in Indonesia, and then we already put 28 commodities, that has a very big opportunity actually to process in Indonesia. For example, we have nickel, number one actually in the world, the resources of nickel in Indonesia. We have 42% of nickel from the global Indonesia, and now we have been making the ecosystem of nickel in Indonesia from mining sectors and the smelter for the first tier of downstreaming of nickel until the battery for electric vehicle and also recycling of the battery itself. So mostly the investor come from China because they have the technology, especially for the battery cell and also for the smelter of nickel. But I already talked to ambassador that ambassador said Indian investor also interested to invest in nickel industry in Indonesia, and we are really happy, to have investor from India to invest in nickel industry in Indonesia. And then the other sectors that we can promote or offer to Indian investor is about bauxite. Bauxite, we have made a regulation, to stop export as the raw material. So we invite the investor to make a smelter of bauxite, and now we have some smelter of bauxite in Kalimantan. Also, we have in Bintan, and we also have planned to build more smelter of bauxite in other area in Indonesia. For digital economy and IT infrastructure, Indonesia data center market has substantial growth potential with estimated total capacity around 2.7 gigawatt, of which approximate 600 megawatt. About 20% has been developed to this day. Supported by this untapped capacity, the market is projected to grow rapidly with a forecast CAGR of 16.3% over the next 5 years, 2025 and 2030. Health sectors also one of a very big opportunity in Indonesia because we have made what we call it special economic zone for health care in Bali, also in Batam. I think the ambassador already mentioned about it as well, that Indian investor will develop hospital in Batam. This is for international hospital. And we also make special economic zone for education. We really want to improve the quality of education in Indonesia. That's why we invite investors from abroad to build or to develop international school in Indonesia. And we will give them what we call it super deduction tax. We can give 200% for investor that develop education in Indonesia, especially for the vocational. Okay, and then the other thing is about research and development, because research and development is very important as well for the country, and we will give special or super deduction tax 300% from the spending that already paid, they already spent. So, for semiconductor industry, we also would like to build an integrative semiconductor ecosystem from silica mining, and then copper, bauxite, and rare earth to process wafer manufacturing in Indonesia. And for regulatory to get license in Indonesia, I know that business license in Indonesia is also one big issue, for investor. Now we have been improving, the mechanism of business licensing in Indonesia. You know very well that now we are using the online system, but the improvement that we have done right now is we already put the SLA, this is the period time for every permit. And the other improvement that we have done in our system, we already put, the mechanism if the license take more time than the period time that we already state, and then the system will issue the license automatically. That's the improvement that we have done. We haven't made this mechanism for all license, but we have made at least for 16th license that we have right now. And then we will continue to make this mechanism for other license in Indonesia. Through this new regulation, the government has centralized the processing and time limits for all business permits through our online single submission. And its license now has a clear time frame, improving the overall business licensing process and providing greater certainty for investors. If a permit is not proceed with the set timeline, I already mentioned the system will automatically issue the license. So for the incentive, I already mentioned as well, government tax holiday right now is already extend, until 2027 because our current tax holiday is only until December 2026, but we already renew the facility of tax holiday, so we still can give tax holiday for some investment in Indonesia, especially for industrial activity. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's events, I believe, mark an important step in deepening Indonesia and India cooperation, opening pathway to partnership with tangible and sustainable outcomes. I encourage all participants to continue sharing insight and identifying the opportunity that we can create and develop together by combining technology and innovation from India and the resources in Indonesia, also domestic market potential and downstream opportunity. I thank you and good evening.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Heldi Satria Putra. We will continue our next session to Q&A session. And again, I would like to invite Mr. Sachin Gopalan to join us to the stage as a moderator to this Q&A session. Please give applause, ladies and gentlemen, and let them begin.
Terima kasih, Pak Heldi. And thank you for taking this time. Really appreciate the opportunity to ask you a few questions. I would go around the room again. Do you have any special questions for BKPM? I think we have some people here who deal with BKPM. Seema, you are one of them, so please do keep a question. We'll try and wrap it up quickly because as Pak Heldi said that, we are well past 9 p.m. But the microphone is here. While we go around the room, if I may ask you, Pa, a lot of Indian companies here have invested and they have been here for a long time. And I personally know of many new companies who are now coming into Indonesia. And there is a little bit of confusion about, the BKPM procedure and some new regulations have changed. And I think today you clarified that quite well. Do you see any specific directions where you would see that, you would like to invite India to participate in some particular sectors more than any of the other sectors? What do you think is a good fit for Indian companies to come forward?
Thank you. I already mentioned, one of opportunity for investment in Indonesia is healthcare. I know that India has very strong technology and also knowledge for the healthcare. So we hope that they can invest in healthcare industry in Indonesia. That's the first one. And the second one is about steel industry.
Steel industry.
Steel industry. I know that India also have a very strong technology for the steel industry in Indonesia, and we really want, to have more steel industry. I think so we can invite India for the steel industry, and then the other thing is about ICT.
ICT, yes.
Yes, ICT.
Digital technology.
Digital technology.
Yes.
We need to develop more data center in Indonesia, and then we also have information that some investors, they also want to make, they call it this AI infrastructure. So I know, the concept is almost similar like data center, but the component or the material they use is a bit different. They will use many GPU, graphic processing units. Yes. So I think this is the new thing also in Indonesia, and we have a big opportunity, you know, for Indian, and then also for semiconductor. I know it's not easy, you know, to build semiconductor industry in Indonesia. We know industry. I know exactly, you know, the competitors of semiconductor, also from Asia. But I believe India has a very good technology as well.
Thank you, Spa. Yes, Seema, microphone there. Seema.
Good evening, Pa. My name is Seema. I have been practicing in Indonesia for the last 20 years on the corporate side of the law. And I have a couple of questions. One, on the investment, the minimum investment that foreign investment companies have to make, which is about 10 billion rupiah. I know BKPM reduced the capital to 2.5 billion, but then the investment it still stands at 10 billion. And I have a lot of clients questioning me, why 10 billion for certain sectors? If BKPM can actually categorize the investment expectations based on line of business, that would be good. Because like business consultancy or IT sectors, certain sectors may not need 10 billion and they just cannot get their heads around why 10 billion for a certain line of business. That's one. If BKPM can actually look into it and give some sort of a consideration based on line of business for, you know, the minimum investment per KBLE. That's one. And in the recent past, this is the question number 2 I have. Certain moratoriums have been imposed on certain sectors retrospectively. And I think that's very discouraging for investors because they would have come with certain expectations and they have made investments and suddenly they have a change in law and there is a dead block, you know. So these two things, if BKPM could consider, I think it would be very encouraging for foreign investors, irrespective of countries. That's all, Pa. Thank you.
Okay. For the first question, you know, about the minimum investment for foreign investor, right? 10 billion. Actually, this regulation come from a law of small and medium enterprise, you know. So we have to follow that law. But we tried to find the solution. That's why if we look at the law of company or corporation in Indonesia, you know, the minimum modal or capital that you have to put in the bank is only 2.5%, right? So that's why 25%. I mean, so that's why you can put only 2.5 billion, not 10 billion. So we have tried to find the solution actually, but we have to follow the law of SME. So I think this is what we need to discuss more, you know. Can we change this? So I think it's very hard because we have to not to protect only, you know, because if I say protect something that's very difficult to understand, to understood by investor, but we also have to grow the small and medium enterprise in Indonesia, and then so we hope, you know, with 2.5 billion, I think it's already more or better for investors. So maybe we need to discuss more, Bu Seema, yeah, for this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the second
question was about the moratorium change.
Actually, the regulation cannot be retroactive, you know. So yeah, I don't know which regulation or policy that you mentioned about this.
Mike.
Mm-hmm.
This is actually real estate in Bali. So there is a block for KBLE 68111 in the recent past. But the investors have come in over 3 or 4 years ago. And then now there is a moratorium which was recently. I do not see any edaran or regulation, but the OSS system, I cannot select 68111.
Okay. Maybe we have to check about it.
Yes.
Because actually the regulation cannot be implemented retroactive.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's my understanding as well. So there is no regulation, edaran, or a supporting circular which says 6811 is actually in the negative list or the positive list. There is nothing of that sort. But in the system, when we apply for KKKPR, I cannot see 68111. And I believe there has been some sort of an interference or a block in the system itself.
Okay. I think this is
Yeah,
good
we can
input.
take it off.
This is good input for us.
Yeah.
Usima, and
Yeah.
then
I
will
have
check. I will check.
actually approached BKPM to help us resolve this. So
Because-
I will probably reach out to you as well if there is no solution.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Seema. Questions here at this table? If you can quickly come. Di sini, di depan. Oh yeah, there's a microphone here. Thank you. Gentleman in front. Here. After that to Ibu Malvika.
Good evening, sir. Myself, Murli Krishna, I'm representing ArcelorMittal Nippon Steel. So we have a downstream steel unit operating out of Bekasi industrial area. So we have a 0.4 million ton capacity doing cold rolling and galvanizing product. So first thing is, it's heartening to hear that steel industry is welcome from India. While my query is about specifically on the downstream industry. When I mention it as downstream, it is cold rolled and coated steels. So further, Indonesia has sufficient capacity and it's also have been growing consistently at 5% per year. But most of the downstream steel industry is operating at capacity lower than 50%. And actually the growth is getting taken away by the imports. So what steps actually the government can take probably to see that the downstream industry can actually get to the capacity and then probably fresh investments can come in. I certainly see that the fresh investment is possible because Indonesia is currently lacking in the auto steel production and also some of the high-end coated products where we have the technology. We are doing it in India. So that will be certainly an opportunity of interest for us. But we want to look at that how the downstream industry, specifically on the steel, is going to get regulated here or how the growth opportunities can be given for the local industry vis-a-vis the import source.
Yeah, I think this is the problem that we have for the steel industry. Maybe Pak Iwan Setiawan knows very well, that we have to make, another demand of steel industry. Actually, for the developing country like Indonesia, we will need a lot still, to develop the country. But now, we have a lot of imported steel. So difficult for local steel industry to compete with the import product in Indonesia. So we have discussed about it actually with the Association of Steel and also Ministry of Trade. How we can make more opportunity for the local industry, to compete with the imported products in Indonesia. So maybe we have to see what kind of imported product can enter the domestic market, because we know they also have some issue, and we will see, Pak. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Can I ask Ibu Malvika, any queries that have come from companies that you've been dealing with which could be addressed to BKPM? from the
Thank you,
embassy.
Sachin, for putting me in the question asking. But if I would like to know, Ambassador has anything specific, okay, then I'll take. First of all, Papa, thank you very much. I am very delighted to know the 4 sectors that you highlighted for opportunities of further collaboration with Indian investors in steel, health, AI, infrastructure, and semiconductors. In fact, these are the conversations we are having these days with Indian companies and within the embassy. And steel, my friend has already mentioned AMNS, and many other Indian companies are facing challenges, which we really do want to enhance our cooperation in steel. India is going to become one of the largest consumers of steel very soon, and Indian companies are looking at opportunities because you have raw materials, we have technology and an appetite to invest. On the health front, my question is also almost similar. There's a market entry issue for Indian investors in pharma, in medical device. One is, of course, registration. The process is long and it takes time to understand market. Any pharma company which wants to build a production line here will look at the larger ASEAN market as well, or even further global. The problem is to invest here, they need scale, which Indonesia is not able to provide because these, for example, APIs, I understand, is a very small quantity that is needed. So just for this market, it is not viable. What they need is greater support from regulatory and policy perspective where they can have lower market entry barriers so that they can understand this market better. They can reach scales, not just in Indonesia, but also outside. That takes time, that takes a research and development process. Unfortunately, that has stopped or slowed down many investments in the pharma sector, even though we already have almost 5 companies that I know of who are invested here or in the process, like Ambassador said. So the problem is of not being able to scale, and then the market entry barriers. At least the market entry barriers could be looked at so that investors could come into a more friendly environment where they can then scale. So this has been the problem in the auto sector as well. Without being able to develop the product specific to this market, there is no possibility to scale. And to be able to have that development or that gestation period, they need easier market entry. So this has been the case in pharma sector. And for AI infrastructure, we really look forward when we have the AI Impact Summit. We have a big delegation going to India, and we have in fact recently written to India highlighting this opportunity that we could have our global processing centers, units, GPUs here for AI infrastructure. And then we could have strategic partnership in this sector. So it's a very futuristic view, and I thank you for bringing it up. And lastly, even for semiconductors, yes, there is a lot of talk for diversification, strategic autonomy, and the world is looking at partnerships that are more stable in the future. So semiconductors, India has recently announced its National Semiconductor Mission, and the critical mineral conference and the critical mineral discussions that we aim to have in the future are actually rightly aimed in this direction. So we hope to have greater support from your ministry, from UPA, so that we can have this semiconductor cooperation, which will be more futuristic, which will not culminate into anything in the near future, but maybe in the long term. So it's not really a question, it's just a sharing of thoughts that I had. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Papa. I think last question, Pa, it's just a small one. There is also the ability to invest from within. The companies that are already here are interested to invest more and increase the capacity here. So do you have any a viewpoint on that about how we can encourage existing companies who've been here many years, but being able to now service, let's say, ASEAN markets, or making Indonesia a base for a larger part, for global expansion? So has the BKPM thought of enlisting Indonesian companies or foreign companies invested here already but looking at expanding this into a bigger base for the region?
Actually, the plan of the company, it comes from their company itself, right?
Yeah.
So, but the government will support all plan of the company to extend or to expand their business in Indonesia. And the other things that I can say as well, we can give incentive not only for the new company, but for the existing company that want to build the new product, we also can give incentive.
Yes,
that's the other thing that we can support the existing company.
Thank you very much, Pa. I think
Welcome.
that's just about time. If there is any last one question, there's 1 minute, but otherwise I would like to close the session. I would really like to appreciate Pa Heldi's time with us and his patience in taking questions. Really appreciate that, Papa. And a big round of applause for Pa Heldi. Thank you very much. And yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sachin and Mr. Heldi Satria Putra. Please remain at the podium. And we also invite His Excellency, Mr. Sandip Chakra Borty, to present an appreciation. Okay. So, okay. So, Mr. Primus Dorimulu will give the appreciation to Mr. Heldi Satria Putra, Deputy for Downstream Investment Strategic of Ministry Investment and Downstream Industry or BKPM. Please give your best applause, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. And we also invite Mr. Ilham Akbar Habibi to join to the stage. Also Mr. Ali Setiawan to join to the stage to do the group photo. Okay. Excuse me, sir. Mr. Ilham Akbar Habibi and Mr. Ali Setiawan, please join us to the stage. Mr. Bayu, please join them to the stage to do a group photo together tonight to this event. Okay, so in this special moment, we will take a photo group together and give your best smile to the camera. And 3, 2, 1, cheers! Again, 3, 2, 1, smile! Okay, ladies and gentlemen, give your best applause to everyone to the stage, and thank you so much, Mr. Ali Setiawan, Mr. Ilham Akbar Habibi, and also Embassy of India to Indonesia, Mr. Heldi, Mr. Sachin Gopalan, thank you so much. And everyone on the stage, you may return to your seat. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Bayu, Mr. Sachin, Mr. Ali Setiawan. You may return to your seat. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of the event tonight. I would like to say thank you to everyone who involved in this moment tonight, this event. And for India Night 2026, thank you so much. And this event was made possible through the generous support of April, AMNS Indonesia, Asia Pacific Fibers, Adani, Esar, Bank SBI Indonesia. Also thank you to GAAR, Bank of India Indonesia, Kadin Indonesia or Indonesian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the Embassy of the Republic of Indonesia in India. Thank you to India News Desk. Thank you to INCHAM or Indonesia Chamber of Commerce, and also thank you to Indonesia India. And thank you for your presence and your kind attention throughout the evening. And I'm Mangi Farachong signing off. We look forward to seeing you at our future event and have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much.